Hey everyone, and welcome to episode number 5 of Uncut. My name is Billy, or BK23 on Instagram, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. Last week we talked about my top 5. Today we're going to talk about unboxing a brand new box of arguably one of the best Cuban cigars to ever come out of Cuba, the Behike 52. For those of you who aren't familiar, the Behike line is the premier line that comes from the Cohiba Marca. If you've ever seen them, it's a beautiful light wrapper. There's 3 sizes, a 52, a 54, and a 56. Today we're going to take a look at a brand new sealed box of Behike 52 and actually go through the process of identifying a legitimate box from one of the many counterfeits. I say many because it is the premier line from Cohiba, and because of that, it's also the most sought after. That being said, anytime something is in high demand, they tend to make fakes. So today we'll identify how to determine whether or not your box is legit, what to look for, and what makes these sticks so special. Okay, so last time we talked a little bit about identifying counterfeit boxes of Cubans. We talked a lot about going to the Habanos website and making sure that the serial number pulls up the specific box. If, for example, you go and you put this in and it pulls up as a box of Por Larrañaga, obviously a huge red flag, and you know that you have an issue. With the Behike specifically, once you open the box, and we'll do that momentarily, you'll see that there is a beautiful piano finish to the box. It does come in this cardboard. There are no do-it-yourself kits like we discussed prior. Everything on the box you see. It is important to point out that the stamp is actually on the bottom of the cardboard. You'll notice on a lot of the wooden boxes that as you open them, it's on the stamp onto the actual cedar of the box. Not necessarily the case on the Behike. So can occasionally be kind of a worrisome situation when maybe a novice that's never had a box before sees it and goes, oh, that's a little bit shady. It's not. That's how it's supposed to be. The other thing to look for are these awful, don't smoke, it's bad for you, smoking kills things. They're plastered over almost every box of Cubans now. So if you don't see that, again, might raise a couple of red flags. The Habanos sticker is placed exactly as you see it. The quality of the cardboard box is just okay. I mean, it's nothing to write home about. You'll see the markings on the box on each side. I'm going to show you all of the exterior aesthetics of the box so that as you buy your own, you have something to match them up to. This is a 2016 box. There are some 2018 boxes that have been released, but again, they just fly off of the shelves. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, let you take a look at an actual box of 52. We'll talk about the bands, we'll talk about the box, we'll talk about the packaging a little bit more. Really, for me, it's important, one, to be a resource to you guys. I'm pretty lucky to have a great collection of sticks, but as you're out and you're looking for cigars of your own, the worst possible thing that could happen, in my opinion, is you go out, you spend your hard-earned money, you buy a box that you think is legit from a reputable seller, and it's not. So this is the beautiful, we'll call it suede for lack of a better term, it's not, but the dust guard that comes on it, the Behike and Cohiba head are pressed into and gold foiled on the outside. When you flip it over, you do have that classic Habanos logo on the back as well. As you pull this out, you will see that the box is protected by a plastic guard. If it does not have this, it is not real. They always have them if you're buying a new box. This will actually peel back and it will reveal a beautiful piano finish on the box. Absolutely stunning box. Typically, kind of golden rule of thumb is anything that's a black piano lacquered finish tends to be a higher caliber, higher quality rolled cigar. Any of the Behike, any of the Reserva, any of the Grand Reserva all come in these boxes. On the exterior, just like on the wrapper, you see all of the evenly spaced squares. You see the nice reflective gold Behike logo with the Havana Cuba. The gold on the latches in the back. In this instance, it does not have like a Grand Reserva, a push button latch. But it does have a nice finger groove that you would open the box. Some of the replicas that I've seen, it's an oddly sized box with big squares. Some of them don't have the piano finish. Some of them don't have some of the other things that we've talked about. When you open this box up, you will also see your Cohiba marketing piece for the Behike. It gives you a description of the cigar on the back. These are made in extremely limited quantities, and unfortunately they are very expensive. In my opinion, worth every penny. Again, on the inside, very nice reflective Behike and Cohiba advertising and marketing. This is your cedar. Smells fantastic, as most cedar does. We talked also a little bit about the trick of putting this in your hand and watching it curl. If it does not curl, that is absolutely a red flag. A lot of the time they make the wax paper on the counterfeits quite a bit stiffer. It does not have that feature. So always put it in your hand, give it a second, and let it curl. Then the wax paper, not a whole lot of telltale there. If it's an older box, there should be a little bit of a yellowing to the wax paper. With this being a 2016, it doesn't surprise me that there's not. So, the bread and butter of the Behike. This is really aesthetically probably the most beautiful production cigar, in my opinion, potentially ever made. They are flawless wrappers. The band, which we'll go over a little bit more in depth, has a couple of key features that you'll want to see. But as you can see, these things are flawless. The pigtail, the triple cap, the wrap in itself. I'm going to show you a couple of these close up in photos, but I want to be able to describe them to you as well outside of a photo. A couple things to look for. Number one, the Taina head does have the hologram inside. As you move it, and you probably won't be able to see it in this, but again, at the end of this video, I will put a couple of up-close videos of this cigar. You should be able to see the smaller head inside of the larger head. Another thing to look for is the spacing around the head. It should be completely evenly spaced with black. The head should sit directly in. It shouldn't touch any of the sides. The squares are also a huge telltale. The squares should just barely border the gold at the top and the bottom. It should not touch, and it should not be too far away. If you see a big black gap in between the two, something to worry about. The Behike logo itself is raised from the actual wrapper. If you run your finger across it, you'll be able to feel that it's slightly raised. On the back side, you'll notice again the Cohiba branding and another set of the holographic logos. In this instance, it is the Cohiba marca and the Taina head. And then if you rotate it slightly a bit more, you'll see that classic Cohiba yellow or gold and the Havana Cuba. The quality of the wrapper on these should be spectacular. If you pull a box and you open it and you've got a lot of veins or a lot of different variations in color, again, I would check your source as to where they came from. That should not be the case with these cigars. The hinges have the impressed Cohiba on the hinges, and I'm just going to hold this up so you guys can see it. Hopefully that will autofocus for you so you can get a better feel and a better view of what they look like. But again, I'll post a couple of pictures. So it's a little cold outside to do an actual review of the cigar, but in a future episode, this is absolutely one of the cigars that I will review. I personally prefer the size of the 54. 56 is quite a bit longer, and the 52 is a very quick smoke. These for me are certainly a special occasion smoke. If I'm celebrating a success or accomplishing a goal, I'll sit out back and I'll enjoy this. They pair wonderfully with coffee. They pair wonderfully with not a very peaty scotch, something on the, nothing off the top of my head sitting here. And actually the Balvenie, the 17, is a fantastic pairing. That's what I had with them last time. Glenmorangie Signet is also an exceptional pairing with these. And I'm a big fan of smoking these with wine. Something about the earthiness and spice of the wine really does complement the Behike. So that said, let me post a couple of pictures for you guys to look at, and then we'll wrap this video up. So hopefully you guys found that informative. If you have any questions or I missed anything, leave a comment below and I'll be absolutely happy to answer all of them. You can also shoot me a direct message at BK23 on Instagram. I answer all of my messages. So if you have any questions about your box or want to send some pictures, I'm happy to be a resource. Next week, we'll talk a little bit about humidors. I get a lot of questions about what the best brand is, how do you season them. So I've got one coming. We'll crack it open, take a look at the quality, and potentially season it and see how it holds up. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Subscribe and make sure again to follow me on Instagram at BK23. Have a good day.